abuse against those involved have been suspended, pending a full investigation into the child's satanic revelations.
Journalist Tim Tate was verantwoordelijk voor het televisieprogramma.
Yes, and it was not easy, I should say, to persuade British television to make this program. It took me a year to persuade the network, the company I work for, to allow the program to be made. The idea behind it was to make the public, to make the police, to make some social workers aware of a problem which appears to have existed for a long time, but is only now beginning to be disclosed. And throughout this country there is very little understanding of a very, very difficult problem. So the aim of the program is simply to make people sit up and take notice.
Het programma schokte Engeland. Net als in ons land waren er reacties van ongeloof. Toch hadden de programmamakers wel bereikt dat er bij de politie, de hulpverlening en in de politiek over rituele kindermishandeling werd gesproken. Een van de eerste die in Engeland slachtoffers van rituele kindermishandeling behandelde was Judith Dawson.
I think that people who've worked with people who've been sexually abused find it easier to come to accept that what children say has to be taken seriously. So that people with a good reputation of working in sexual abuse are able to understand that children find it difficult to describe what they haven't experienced. And that in that sense, they're almost more reliable witnesses than adults. A child who's able to describe to you what sticky red stuff in a cup tastes like, to adults who've never tasted blood, of course has to be taken seriously. But there's been a mixed reaction. At first, I think people found it unbelievable. But as I say, those people who have a good, solid experience of working in sexual abuse find it easier. And then, of course, we began to make contact with others who'd also been hearing these stories.
Doug Harris werkte bij een christelijke hulpverleningsorganisatie. Opvallend was dat veel slachtoffers juist bij hem hulp zochten.
Yes, there were a number. I mean, as a result of that particular program and as a result of articles afterwards, we have had a number of inquiries come through onto the main occult line that we have. And some of those are people that have either been involved, either the victims or the perpetrators, and both asking for help. Both types of group are asking for help. And so at this point in time, we are going through. Some just need counselling, and we're finding the people in the area that can counsel, can help them. Others, of course, are now police matters, and they've been passed on to the police, and they are seeking to work through what will happen, whether prosecutions will take place in the future. And we are, I suppose, because we have this national occult line, and because it still has quite a high profile, we're still getting people coming forward that want help, that either have perpetrated it, been involved, or have been the victims of it.
Ook de politiek reageerde op de uitzending over rituele kindermishandeling.
Well, I felt it was my duty to inform the nation, and certainly to inform the British government, so I spoke out in the House of Commons one afternoon. And I really felt that I wasn't terribly believed, and people thought this was quite a humorous thing. So I went a stage further and secured a full debate on it in the House of Commons, and I put forward a lot of evidence to the Home Office, and in their reply I could tell that they are taking the subject very seriously. And in fact now, behind the scenes, they are cooperating with me, and I'm able to send them all the evidence that comes to my hand.
Hoewel in Engeland nog niet iedereen gelooft dat rituele kindermishandeling bestaat, is men al wel zover dat je erover kan praten. Daarom durven nu ook slachtoffers met gruwelijke ervaringen naar buiten te komen. De eerste die dat deed was Audrey Harper.
Somebody's got to speak out, if only to help those that are still involved. There are young children, there are teenagers still being recruited. Now I care very much about that. My life was screwed up for nearly a quarter of it. And we need to take note so that we can prevent other kids' lives getting screwed up. It hurts me to see lives damaged. So if the only way to get people to listen was to publicly state it, then that's what I had to do.
Audrey Harper was het eerste slachtoffer die haar gruwelijke ervaringen voor de televisie durfde te vertellen. Daar was moed voor nodig. En dat gold ook voor de hulpverleners die in de uitzending zaten. Zij durfden ervoor uit te komen dat ze de slachtoffers geloofden en liepen daarmee het risico uitgelachen te worden.
Well, personally, myself and colleagues have been ridiculed to a certain extent. We're people who are well respected in working with sexually abused children. We've had to put our reputations at risk. But on the other hand, there are a number of professionals who've said, we're pleased that you started talking out. We've had cases like this, but we've been told, don't follow them up. You know, you're over-involved, you're really misinterpreting what the child's saying, leave it alone. No, they're telling the truth. We've had an awful lot of support, and a growing number of people are taking it seriously.
In Engeland is er een groeiende groep mensen die bereid is de verhalen van slachtoffers van rituele kindermishandeling serieus te nemen. De vraag om een aanpak van deze misdrijven wordt daar steeds sterker. Een aanpak die misschien wel internationaal zal moeten zijn.
I think first we need to educate in our own countries. We need to educate politicians, the judges, the policemen particularly. Once we've done that, we need to move across and deal with it on an international level, probably at the United Nations. But we must be at least 10 years away from that. We still have 5 years' work to do in this country before it's properly believed.
It will be very difficult to do anything worldwide until we can get individual countries to understand and to believe that these terrible things are really happening. And I think once we get that message across and public opinion gets behind us, we can stamp this out throughout the world.
Het zal nog lang duren voordat rituele kindermishandeling kan worden uitgebannen en de daders gepakt. Daarom moet volgens hulpverleners allereerst de aandacht uitgaan naar de slachtoffers, naar de kinderen die vertellen over hun gruwelijke ervaringen.
What needs to happen is that when the child makes these sort of disclosures, we have an open mind. We accept what they say at the time. We don't show a hint of disbelief, because if they see that, they'll close down. Later on, we can try and validate it and see which bits are real, which bits are perhaps trickery, which bits are mistakes. But at the time when the child tells you, you must take it all in and make sense of it later.
I think our main concern is to make the public so aware of it that when a child is missing, they will be more interested. When they see things going on down the road or be aware, they'll be more ready to report to the police things that they hear, things that they see, that we can stop the thing at source. I think much more is where we're really working to.